Yep.
If you want to fire up your presentation, and I'll leave it with you.
Yeah. Okay, can we all see that? Hopefully it's... Stuart, can you see it?
I can see that. Yeah, I've got that.
Okay, brilliant. So, so first of all, a massive thank you and a welcome. So in your chat box, could you just tell me what you see in the diagram? So some of you might have seen the diagram before, some of you might be able to see it, I don't know. Stuart, you'll be able to see the chat box, I would have thought.
Yeah, I was putting down what I can see.
Okay.
We've got a lot of ducks, a duck and a rabbit, a bunny, a duck.
Brilliant, great. So basically, you'll have seen this before. It's just to say that we all see things differently, and the idea of today is just literally to introduce ourselves and a little bit of our world and what we've been doing. So hopefully, yeah, technology. So again, thanks for the opportunity. I'm Louise. A little bit of background about myself. I'm a former PE teacher. I've been coaching way over 25 years now. My main sport is tennis, but I have been coaching a variety of other sports. I currently, as well as doing the LUSU, I also work as a consultant for various national governing bodies. I write content for a whole range of courses. I do quite a lot of mentoring of coaches, and I also work with the military on their battle back program. So it's about recovering personnel, whether it's through physical or mental ill health. So I kind of do quite a range of things. And then with my passion being tennis, I also am a GB wheelchair tennis coach, and I'm currently the GB visually impaired and blind coach and manager. So that's a little snippet about myself. Sue?
Yeah, a little bit about myself. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Hands up. Okay. So some of you might know me in the Stockport and Manchester area, because I've been coaching now for 30 years, sports, the PE side of things. But over the last 15 years, I've been working very much in the special needs sector. So I work a lot with Seashell Trust, we do the training, and also I coach tennis at the local club in Stockport. So I will do later on, show you the bags and how we've created and how we've had people working with special needs and what we're doing. So yeah, that's a bit about me. I'm not as the GB, but I have been around, and I'm very passionate about making sport to children with a disability inclusive. So I hope you get a lot from this presentation today.
Yeah, so the reason Sue and I came together is we've been friends for a long time, and because I'd kind of gone down the coach education route and was writing a lot of content, and Sue was on the ground and was in the schools, and was realising that there was a lot of children that were unable to take part. Sue, behind the scenes, was creating loads of equipment. So we basically came together and created the LUSU concept. So kind of the next 20 minutes, we're going to, with quick intro to what LUSU Sports is about. Again, I know there's a lot of knowledge from everyone in this mini workshop. So you probably know a lot of the barriers and solutions to physical activity within PE, but a little bit of broader understandings around step and inclusion and some of our adaptive equipment. So it's a very sort of whistle-stop tour into what we currently do. So we're very much about colour, as you can see from our orange, and we're very much about trying to find solutions. We deliver training courses, so we have created various courses, some specifically for schools, some specifically for coaches, for national governing bodies. So we will work with various organisations and create, say, around training courses around inclusion. We also act as consultants, so we, on the bottom left, that was us flying over to Ireland to work with Tennis Ireland as a consultancy. One of the biggest things, and this through experience as coaches, is the adaptive equipment. And our big philosophy is every child should be able to take part in physical activity. It's just about creating either a different environment or using different adaptive equipment, and that's what we try to do. And ultimately, we're coaches, and again, what we want to do is continue our coaching so that we're not removed from what coaches and teachers are working. So that's a little bit about ourselves. So through my, as I say, years of teaching and then coaching, I've always been athlete centred, and because I've worked at a university for 20 years, heading up their coach education and tennis programs and did some lecturing, I'm very much about understanding the participants, and a big part of sort of the coaching philosophy and the coaching process is about looking at who we're coaching, so what are their wants and needs, how we're going to teach or coach the experience, creating their learning environment, and what are we going to teach, and how we're going to work with them. So it's that who, what, how context on that bottom left. I really like this model from one of my friends, Andy at the university, has created this. But I'm sure any of you that have done coaching or teaching will have seen this type of model before. So we work with a whole host of participants, from very young children all the way through to adults. Here's just a couple of photos of some of the work. So we go and do festivals. So the top left is a young girl who was at one of our festivals. Sue on court with William, who she'll chat to about before. One of the photos, so second from the left at the top, I work with the Rugby Foundation for Injured Players. So this gentleman had broken his spine playing rugby, no movement from shoulders down, and basically he took part in one of our tennis sessions. So instead of hitting using his hand, we got him serving, serve and volley, and then coming in, volleying and aiming at various different areas of the court, but using his head instead of a racket. So there's just some examples of some of the participants. The bottom right photo is a gentleman who's deaf-blind, who I coach tennis as well. So just give you a couple. I'm sure many of you will have seen the inclusion spectrum. And when we talk about and go into our training programs, we talk about the inclusion spectrum, but we also focus more on STEP. When we do deliver the training, and again, apologies if you are aware of STEP, what we are finding is it's kind of 50-50 whether people know about STEP. So STEP for us is space, task, equipment and people. And ultimately, by us changing any areas, whether it's the space or the task or using some of the adaptive equipment, then everyone can take part. So we use this philosophy all the time. We use it a lot through differentiation. What I'm finding is that teachers that are being trained up now and some of the coaches now at level 1, level 2, they're starting to understand STEP. So apologies if you've seen it before, but that's a big part of our philosophy. And write down any questions at any time. Again, with us doing this kind of webinar, we just thought we'd give you some of our key principles for us when we coach. So we very much use the coaching process because a lot of feedback from the participants is that a lot of people facilitate, but they don't actually coach. And actually, when you start and sit down and ask the young children or the adults what they're wanting from their session, it is very much about I'm wanting to either get better or join in or be fully included. I want that fun, that enjoyment, and especially with children, they don't want to be isolated. They want to be involved. And with a lot of the young adults that I work with and the older adults, it's very much about they're wanting to progress and see the progressions and understand how to get better. So again, for me, key principles is to make sure that you're coaching. Very much about doing what's now and what's then. And again, we'll talk about that when Sue starts talking through the equipment. We use a lot of visual demos, and we're currently working on a project in Stockport, a lockdown project, and we're working with families. And we've basically given some kit to families who have got children with disabilities. We've given them a lot of cards, which you'll see later on. And what we're finding is that a lot of the families haven't been used to the visual demos and demonstrating activity to the children. So we're kind of looking at that. I see someone's just popped something on the chat, but I can't see it. So
Just Damien asking if we can get access to the presentation after to share
Yep.
with the team at his company or his school. And yeah, we've recorded this, so I'll put it onto our YouTube channel, and then we can send links out to everybody so they can then share it with teachers and coaches.
yeah, no problem. I can always transfer the presentation as well if anyone wants it.
Fantastic.
We also, a lot of clear instruction and simple language, and this is something that I've really had to work on. So as a coach, I was very much about visual demonstrations. And then when I started working with visually impaired and blind, I did the most fantastic demo of a forehand until someone who was blind turned around to me and said, "Louise, that was great. I didn't see any of it." So I've had to really think about my clear instructions, being really specific and being really specific with the feedback. So that's kind of an area that I've worked on. When we talk about demo, the drill, it's not just the skill, but it's about everything. So again, Sue will probably talk a little bit more about that when she's talking through the equipment. Again, space, that extra space for safety. Watch for runners. So I've done a tennis festival for learning disabilities, and the first child that came on was a runner and ran straight through the fire door on the indoor centre that we were on and off and out. So again, just be aware. Breaking skills down. So again, this is something that I've really worked on. And then we use a lot of visual aids and a lot of colour, which you will see. And again, apologies if I'm just chatting to everyone who is aware of this, but don't assume. Always coach the person in front, not the disability. And one of the biggest feedbacks we're getting and one of our learning through this lockdown project, especially from the families, is a lot of parents need to understand how to really motivate and encourage. And actually that massive bit of praise and feedback is really vital. Sue, do you want to chat anything on that slide, or you okay for me to?
You've covered that, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so this is one of our player profiles. So we also work with the Dan Maskell Trust, and we run a training program through them. And this is one of our player profiles from the children that we've worked with. You'll see that Matthew has cerebral palsy, struggles with verbal communication, lacks coordination, weak muscles, needs physical support. He really responds well, loves to be involved in the activity, and a lot of people didn't want to teach him tennis for some reason, and then Sue came along. And then Sue will chat through how she used the tap and swing, some of the adaptive equipment, and working with his PA to ensure that he was fully included in the tennis session at his school.
Can I chip in there, Louise?
Yep.
So this is actually a really nice story. So this is where it all started for me, is Matthew just turned up to my tennis lessons, and I thought, oh my goodness, you know, how am I going to get him to participate into the session? What can I do? And he booked on for a 10-week session with the rest of them in the mainstream children, and I thought, okay. So Matthew, I've worked with a lot. That is recently, that's working with Whiz Kids. So he's come a really long way. That's great to see him reaching out there on that photo. So I started then developing equipment and chatting to Louise as well. And I started actually making stuff and using cones, and thought, right, okay, And so I created, with Lou, we created the backpack that we'll chat more about. But his development has really come a very, very long way. What gets me is the way he's reaching out. He was very close into himself. So, and his confidence is really, really bloomed. So yeah, it's a really nice story, that, and I've kept in contact with him now. He, what, 6 years? Good 6 years now. So, and he goes to mainstream school, so that's nice as well. So, okay.
Okay, so we'll chat a little bit about the kits. You say this is where Sue comes alive, and she'll just give you some of the ideas. So the kit was developed because of our going into schools and working and finding that there wasn't suitability. And Sue made quite a lot of the prototypes, and then we've created some kit. But basically, we use the kit as a way to ensure that every child takes part. And it doesn't have to be LUSU kit, it can be any other kit. It's just about thinking outside of the box. Let's say Sue will go through the kit in a minute. Other things that we have done is we've created activity cards linking into the STEP framework, giving some activity ideas, giving some aims. We are trying to work with SEN schools. A lot of SEN schools don't have a national curriculum, so we've been breaking skills down and looking at the aims and then trying to create levels with schools. And then we've just created QR codes. Please don't QR code that when the presentation comes through, because I don't know where on earth it'll take you. But our cards will have QR codes to our YouTube videos, and that's where some of the instructions done. A lot of these cards are actually aimed at parents and personal assistants, and then we have other cards for teachers and coaches. But it's all about breaking down the activity, creating that success, creating that sense of enjoyment and fun, and then ultimately it helps other activities. So one of the cards we talk about is reaching up, and we do a lot of activity about trying to reach high, and that was purely because a parent had commented about how hard it was taking jumpers on and off. So we were then doing quite a lot of work trying to strengthen and trying to create help with the core through activities above, so that they could then have their child putting their arms up above their head to help with their jumpers on and off. So that was kind of another story. But I'll pass you over now to Sue, who will talk about the equipment.
Hi everyone. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the kit, and also talk about some of the experiences I've had over the 30 years and 15 years of working in SEN. So one of the things that I tend to see is that a lot of people out there are not going prepared for their lessons, and making sure that they have a kit bag prepared for anybody turning up for their session. So, right, I'm going to move myself.
Stuart, shall I stop sharing the screen and then the screen can go large onto Sue?
Yeah, that's the best thing to do, I think. Yeah, and then...
I'll go live.
So just hold on, Sue. Right, now, I think if I go onto your video, Sue, hopefully I can spotlight you. Can everyone see Sue as their main person? If you can, give me a thumbs up.
Fantastic.
Yeah, right, brilliant. So Sue,
okay.
It's all yours.
Okay, so I've not come from B&Q today. Like Lou said earlier, it's all about being bright and full of energy. I'm just going to talk about a couple of ideas of my experience of working within schools and clubs and camps. So I do a lot of work at Seashell Trust, I do a lot of work at the tennis club, and I do a lot of work in the local schools. What I do, and the same with Lou and some of the coaches out there, is I go prepared with a bag full of activities. We also do a bigger bag for the whole class, that they can use. So I'm going to show you a couple of great activities you can do within a wheelchair. So I hope you can all just can you all see me going?
Easy.
Can you see me?
On my phone. Yeah. You sure? Yeah.
Can you see me? Stuart?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, you're a bit low. That's the only thing.
Yeah, you might want to dip your screen down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Perfect.
So, a couple of ideas so you get a few children coming in a wheelchair. So this is our tap and swing. Okay, a great tool. This is where it came from. Matthew, when I worked with Matthew, I designed it so Matthew could participate in tennis. This just connects onto the tap and swing. Nice Velcro. They can just pull it off. You can have it reaching up. So they've all got little Velcro. I love Velcro. You should always have a strip of Velcro in your bag. So that's there. Again, think about your sessions when you're delivering this session. So if I was delivering tennis, I wouldn't go with a 27-inch racket. I'd think about the size of my racket. The closer it is, the easier it is for them to do the activity. Nice fluff ball, a pair of socks, or a scrunched up piece of paper. Just think about what they can do so they get the success. I work with a lot of children with autism, you know, if it's not working, then they don't like failure and then they'll go running off. So keep the success, keep the praise, think about what activities you're using. So that's the fluff ball, okay. The tap and swing, I'll go back a bit more on that. I'll just turn it around. I have a ramp, but again, you can think again, use a piece of cardboard that you could use for the curling, you know, they can join in. One of the things about the equipment, children just love working with it. So if they're in mainstream working with children with a disability, they will all participate. I've done it many a time for after school clubs, lunchtime clubs. So bringing the bright equipment out there. So that's a nice lightweight ramp. You can work on your knees. So the other thing, we've got a net. This is our net, but again, think of things that they can work together, picking things up. The success of catching in a big net. So I'm working on their own. They can keep it with them. For that. I'm going to also talk about this, a big ball. Everybody should have a big ball with them. We went to do something for one of the football clubs, a well-known football club. What did they have? Size 5 leather footballs. No! Think larger balls. A size 5 football will get stuck under their plates. So think about the equipment you're going to be using. If you're delivering football, a bigger ball. I'm going to come out of the chair now. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to turn you around, see if you can all see me here. Can you see me at my QVC desk? Think about when you deliver. Oh, can you see me?
Drop down.
Can you all see me?
Yeah, fine there. Sue, got you.
Okay, when you're teaching rounders, use one of your cones, put the ball on top. Or again, using the tap and swing with a T on it. Yeah, using the tap and swing. I'm just going to alter that screen because I don't know if you can see. Can you see?
Yeah.
Got you.
So when you're doing rounders, the ball coming to you, they're going to be frightened of that. You could use a fluff ball. You could use a bell ball, again for the visually impaired. Feeling it, tapping it off, the success. I enjoy doing it. They're going to enjoy doing it, and your children in the mainstream will also enjoy giving it. We call it, don't tap it, whack it. So another one, if you're doing dance or the sensory, look at your equipment. Again, look at the socks or bean bags, fluff balls. Everybody should have nylon squares in the bags. Fantastic for catching, fantastic for tracking, great for sensory. Nice and light, good for the lungs. Great for throwing. Put 2 nylon squares together, get fantastic success of catching. So you might not catch it on the ball yet. Fluff ball, nice and easy, not going to hurt them. And sensory, they love the feel, they love the rolling. Again, this is in the bags. Light up, then who doesn't love a light up flashing ball? Everybody. So a light up ball. Cricket. Don't use a massive cricket bat. Shorten the bat, easy for them to use. So, balloon balls, lightweight balls, fantastic for tracking, feeling. I want to show you, oh here it is. This is from the tag rugby. This is one of the tag rugby belts. Popping this on. They can work on their own. They can work with their friends. Just pop in a piece of Velcro, wherever it's gone, onto it. And then they can work on their own with the belt. Just tie it on. Excuse me. Well, this is a piece of my elastic out of my sewing box. So they can do a lot of work. Great for the visually impaired. They can, and then they've not lost the ball, they can come and pick it up. Hoops. We all have hoops in our store cupboards. Hula hooping, dropping it on. And elbows. When you're doing netball or basketball, this is a nice lightweight jingly ball. For netball, we've got our nets. Vary the heights for the chairs, vary the heights for if they're in a frame. Don't just use the netball. Gosh, I can't even get it in from there. So this is some of the equipment. This is equipment that we have in our bags. Some of the equipment you'll have in your store cupboard. Think about how you're going to plan the session. Have a look at who's coming to your sessions. When I work for Seashell Trust, I always get a week before and study the children that are going to turn up for my sessions. I always have a bag ready if somebody turns up at my club. So the tap and swing, again, we've got the dartboard that's quite nice. One of the things Louise mentioned earlier was about we don't like seeing children watching from the sidelines. Take a little backpack, take a little piece of equipment, get them to work with a friend that they tend to sit with, coming up with different ideas. Plan your sessions, making sure that they're all joining in. Tambourine, I use this an awful lot at Seashell Trust for tracking. They love to bounce the ball on it. Love the sound on that. Tap hands. You'll see a lot of these around. Great for close control, working on the fine motor skills, balancing, spinning. So I hope I've shown you some of the equipment. This is what we have in our class bags and our individual bags as well. Oh, again, planning your sessions, like Louise said earlier, now and then. I've just put that together myself. picture cards. So they're going to do a bit of activity, they're going to be warming up, do some coordination, they're going to do the tennis, and then do a little scoring system. Make sure that, you know, they know what's coming and they're rewarded. Some of them love rewards, so rewarded. On my clip, I always have that today we're going to do basketball, or today we're going to do bocce. And I think that's it. Stuart on our equipment side and our planning side.
That's great. Just a couple of questions just come through in the chat box. Steph's asked, are the balloon balls which are in the kit bag the big balls, or are they different, the balloon balls?
The balloon balls.
Yeah.
So we have two actually, Steph. So there's a lightweight ball in this one. Fantastic. Again, one of the parents we're working with at the moment on this project said, love it. If it gets thrown at me, it's not going to hurt. You can deflate it with a normal football pump adapter and put a balloon in this. So that's a balloon in that one. Helium balloon, very, very hard to pop. If you're ever going to use balloons, use helium balloons. The reason I designed with Lou the cover, obviously it sticks to things, but it's the noise. They don't like noise. Some of them are allergic to latex. So, and that's got some couscous in there to work with the visually impaired. And then did she ask about this one? So this is a nice netball size basket, just between netball and basketball, but it's really light. That's got no balloon in that. That's just a very thin inner with a couple of bells in there. So that's great.
And Damien asked as well, and I thought, sorry, I think that's actually Steph again, asked if the activity cards come with the kit bags and the kit.
Yeah, we do a variety. So you in the backpack, you can get a few little activity cards that gives you some ideas. In the backpack, there's probably about 12 pieces, Louise, that we have. 13 pieces inside a backpack. Again, for the backpack, we designed it that working with Matthew, it goes on the back of his chair. They can take it to the park. They can, if they're having problems within their lessons. So the Valley School and a couple of the schools we're working with in Seashell Trust, they have these, they take them off and go and do some of the sessions. So if they're doing maths and they're not interested, then they'll take the backpack out and do some activities with them. So that's a backpack. Then we have like a class bag with a few more pieces of equipment. So when I was working at one of the schools, we had a motor skills group, and that was really nice with a few more pieces of equipment. So it's the same equipment, but with more quantity. And then we have the big wheelie bags, the big class bags that would cover the school, your class, your 30 children, really. So
cool. And the cards come in there in the bags, do they?
Yeah, they all come in them. Yeah, they
brilliant. Okay. One thing I was going to say, I mentioned at the start briefly, was that obviously we were looking to purchase some equipment for our company, because we work across 28 different schools in Manchester and Stockport, so we probably don't need as a company to have massive equipment that stays in one school, but more gear that comes to our office that coaches know they're working with a particular child that day, they can pick up and collect. But in a school, of course, though, when you know what children you've got in your school, you can have that ready, can't you? So each teacher is there, time to do PE, can access that bag and be prepared so they can make that lesson available to every child they've got. So we used to mention before, but I said on the phone earlier that we see it quite a lot when we're in out of schools, is the children that are sat reading a book whilst their classmates are all taking part in a PE lesson. And there's no reason for that. And it's just that bit of thought about it, bit of thinking about what we're going to be delivering and adapting, whether it be the size of equipment, the type of equipment, changing the tasks, changing the challenges for that particular child. And yeah, I think seeing that equipment there on your whirlwind tour of LUSU's inventory, it does get you thinking about actually, yeah, that child who can't do that now can do that activity, just in a different way, but at their level.
I think also, so one of my projects that I've worked with the LTA is I've rewritten the primary school syllabus for tennis. So I've rewritten the tennis program. And one of the big learning that I've learnt from using a lot of the inclusive practice is actually sometimes as coaches and teachers, we try and accelerate children through development, and actually going back through the fundamentals and making sure that skills are like building blocks. So a lot of the things that I've been working with, like my nieces and nephews, is going back to writing skills. And because we're losing the dexterity in our fingers because of all the eye touch and all the IT, using the nylon square and being able to throw it up and catch it is then working with the fingers. And then we created with the flying fish, as Sue explained about putting a fluff ball inside 2 nylon squares. Again, we're very good at trying to get the success rate of sending and receiving, throwing a ball, where you just have one element of success, which is the ball. With the flying fish, all of a sudden you can't catch the ball, but you can catch onto the tail, and that's a success. So actually I'm enjoying throwing and catching because I can catch it. It doesn't matter whether I can't catch the ball, I can catch up here. And again, by catching around the tail, without the children realising, they're using their fingers, which actually, if you can strengthen fingers, I'm sure all the teachers out there will realise strengthening fingers, wrists, elbows, shoulders means that a child can now sit up, hold a pen and can start writing. So actually a lot of lessons I've learned by having a child in a mainstream school that might need additional assistance with some of the equipment actually has benefited the whole class and has actually made me really think about some of the fundamental movement patterns, not just for physical literacy, but for other areas. And that's been a massive learning for myself. Also, I'm visually impaired. I had an accident years ago and I'm blind in my left eye, got hit by a tennis ball. I can't judge depth perception. And one of the things as an adult, when I go and join in a new club, so I went to Rounders, I don't like not being able to do anything. So when someone threw me a ball, I couldn't catch it. And yet I've been coaching tennis at an international level for quite high, for years. So I then made all the Rounders Club use the flying fish, and that made me feel confident so I could then send and receive. And as soon as my confidence was there and I got that success rate, we then went on to tennis balls and we went on to Rounders balls, and I'm now playing Rounders again. So it's not just children, it's adults, and everyone needs that success and that confidence. And when you get that confidence, you then start enjoying things. And that's a lot of the lessons we've learned.
Yeah, no, that's great. Alex has asked a question now. Alex works at the Manchester Hospital schools. So they're working in very, very controlled environments in terms of infection. And she's asked, is the equipment easy to wash and clean down? Obviously, in there, that has to be uber clean all the time, moving from ward to ward and child to child.
Yeah. On that one, please. So, hi Alex. So one of the reasons we came up with covers, balloon covers and the nylon squares is the work I do at Seashell Trust. What is the first thing to do is put things into the mouths. So all this is washable right through to the targets, the rockets. It's all been very much tested with the students that I've worked with. So it can definitely be washed. Another good one, I've not got it with me, but I moved to a smaller ball or a tennis ball. The amount of people that have been using actual foam balls or sponge balls, the first thing that one of the students tend to do is put the foam ball in the mouth. So straight away they must be out of a bag. You must never put foam balls in. You must think about a tennis ball. Again, tennis balls, they've been in my washing machine many a time, and they're fantastic for in a dryer if you wanted to fluff up your the clothes. So to your question, yes, it all is very much washable. That's actually just recently come out because they were smelling because they've not been out for a while in the playground, and that was another reason as well, is the equipment in the playground. Can I also just say, Stuart, is what the work I do for Lunch Club, it's been fantastic with the leaders of the clubs running a session and putting the equipment out and making those children with the disability build their confidence and be part of their playground. They're not stuck around. It's not just their PE lessons, it's about the playground and the after school clubs. So once you get a bag out and you leave children with a bag, I just go, right, and they've come up with some, we have the latest, hats and targets, and they come up with all sorts of fantastic ideas, putting this on the foot, grabbing it. So we've learned a lot as well doing this over the last 6 years building LUSU.
I imagine you have. No, it's great. I think I'm going to wrap it pretty soon. Just to say that if it's okay, I'll forward on your website address to all the delegates on here. And if they want to access any training for their teachers and staff or coaching staff, they can know where to come to you. Like I say, we're going to access it with our coaches. We still will do. And if anyone wants to purchase or look more into the equipment, obviously the website's the place to go to. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or get in touch with us directly, because we are working with various organisations who want bespoke equipment.
Yeah.
So we will do that as well.
Well, I'll pass on
uploading with what's happening. We're uploading